Hey, welcome back to the fourth video in this series on working on high water mobility deciduous bonsai such as Japanese maples. This is another one of those with a huge beautiful nebari, very radial. However, as you can see, these roots are going really far away from the trunk with a very mild slope. So my options for the future with this tree are to air layer around this to generate new roots coming from further down and maintain these impressive roots, or simply to bury the tree at a position where it still shows this nebari but the roots continue. It will depend on what the roots down under this provide me, and this is something that I will see in the future. I have not ever thought about what could be the best front for this tree. It has three sub trunks that were chopped last year in the spring to different heights to create some asymmetry. You can still see here the original plastic label that comes with this nursery stock trees, and the tree grew over it. Again, this is a tree that grew in my garden for about 35 years at least, as far as the history of this house that I can uncover, and it was collected in the spring of 2018. Last year it started to be trained using the Hedge pruning method of Walter Pall, and you can see the amount of branches that I have. So not entirely sure what the front should be. I think in terms of considering these three sub trunks, the best way to think about it is as if it was a forest planting, and consider which would be the best position. So it should clearly not be a direction where one of the trunks, so the line of the front is parallel to two of the trunks at the same time, because it would be a pity to hide one of them. It has nothing to do with the whole notion of Japanese notion of having 3 or 5 or 7 trunks but not an even number. But it's more not to waste potential depth that is given by one of these additional trunks being in view. This could be a potential front here, again with the small trunk providing some depth to the design. On a forest planting, you want to see normally the biggest trunk in front, but this is just a suggestion. We could also have something like this as the front, more or less parallel to this root here. So you have the second trunk as the biggest, as providing depth, and this sub trunk is smaller next to the biggest one. Here you have too much of an indentation that gives a feeling of inverse taper that is not very nice, and this is very straight as a line here. I feel that the best front is this one here with a white in the body. This is a side branch, and we don't have any branches here. It may well be that all of this is dead. I don't know. If it's not alive, it's not a problem. Bonsai were always cheating. It's the art of cheating in terms of giving an impression, be it of age, be it of size, be it of the weight of the composition using rocks or a phoenix graft or figurines to shift the view to something else, or a nice spot to complement a poor tree sometimes. But in any case, bonsai is the art of illusion. It's an art of illusion, and so it doesn't matter to use one of these back branches coming sideways to make up for the fact that here we have no branches. So this is an important branch for now. I will now start the time lapse and do the branch selection and wiring where necessary, and then we'll look at the final results together. Stay tuned. I stopped the time lapse for a moment to point out something here, and that is that I styled first the left part. My left, I guess, is your right. The left part of the tree all the way to the apex before styling the right part of the tree. And this is why the reason why is because I don't need to go from bottom to top. I am only concerned about, in this case, sustainable design, in the sense that I have natural lines that look like a deciduous tree, a little more parallel towards the bottom, and they start to move up all the way to horizontal on the top. So we have this change in angle, and so natural lines and sustainable design, the two concepts that I mentioned in a previous video, and to do that I basically I need to go from bottom to top, but I don't need to concern myself with anything other than the local area and how it is related to the branches around it. So I think it's looking great. The other thing is that these two branches here, this and this, they are somewhat covering the front and hiding to some extent this back trunk. They may go in the future or not. I quite like the idea of using them, but I will evaluate that as this tree develops. I quite like using them in the sense that a tree in nature will not have a bare section unless it's against another tree or a wall. But a deciduous tree in a field, an old, impressive deciduous tree in a field, will have branches all around. So although I don't have branches this low here, I do have branches all around. Like I said, I'm missing branches on this side, but I'll make up with those in the back. And this one's here. And in the future I may remove this or not. As in the past, I have been taking one branch as a continuation of one branch in the bifurcation as the continuation of the branch line, and the other as a side branch. And I'm doing this almost everywhere. For example, here too. And so now I will style the other half of the tree, and we're almost done. So as it turns out, I forgot to turn on the camera for styling the other half, but there it is. The last thing, this is the back. The last thing that I want to do is to move this branch here slightly to in that direction to your right, in order to fill more efficiently that space and not clash with this one. Yeah. And I will put guy wire connecting this here to this trunk here. I'm sliding the connection point because of the gasket. It can slide without harming the bark, and so I slid it a little bit. You can slide it up and down to really adjust the position and I think that's perfect. I still see the movement. It's not hidden by this trunk, and it's sustainably placed. So this is the end result of the styling of this tree. One more point that I wanted to make about wiring. You know, at the deciduous tree you have the nodes where you had the leaf petioles, I think it's called, the little branchlet that holds that connects the leaf to the branch. I think it's petiole, the name. This is where the buds will swell and grow, so you have to try not to cover them with your wire. And of course, on a deciduous tree you have to be very careful with your wiring, otherwise you may harm the bark. And one way to be careful is to allow the wire to twist within your fingers as you fold it, otherwise it will be applying pressure on the branch itself. So if you let the wire rotate within your fingers as you wire, it's a very difficult concept to explain without trying it yourself. But if you allow it to rotate between within your fingers as you wire, then you relieve the pressure on the wire that is left on the bark already, and with that you are more careful. You could also wrap your wire with a kitchen towel. That's also done. It's a lot of work though, but this is the result for now for this tree, and it looks very nice from all directions, I think. And I didn't even wire this one here. Okay, where it is. And the front, the proposed front for now is this, but as you can see, it looks good from many other positions too. time will tell how it looks better. So thank you for watching this part 4 of the Deciduous work on high water mobility bonsai such as Japanese maples. Stay tuned for the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.